And now, welcome to Caroline Live with your host, tech executive and author, Caroline Dunn. And now, welcome to Caroline Live.
Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us today. I'm Caroline Dunn, and we are live today for our special session, Ask a Talent Leader, How to Hire Your Next Rockstar. We are simulcast on LinkedIn and YouTube. If you are on the call, please introduce yourself or send us an emoji and we will shout out to you. Whether you're a hiring tech manager, startup founder, or just someone trying to build a high-performing team, you're in the right place today. Today's session is packed with actionable advice, and yes, we'll be taking your questions live, so put those in the comments. But first, let me introduce you to our incredible guest, Ms. Tara Kimbrough. Tara is a powerhouse in talent acquisition and people operations with over 20 years of experience building and scaling high-performing teams. She's the CEO and founder of High IQ Technology Staffing and Consulting. To give you a sense of her reach, Tara has built 7 startups from the ground up, expanded 6 more, and worked with Fortune 500 giants like Honeywell Connected Enterprise, GitHub, a Microsoft company, I think we've heard of them, CNN, Turner Broadcasting, and the Weather Channel's Local Now. She has served as head of talent and chief of staff at companies like Luma Home, which was acquired by Newell Rubbermaid. I think we have those products in our home, and Greenwood, a fintech startup, always focused on scaling top-notch engineering and tech teams. Most recently, Tara was the Global Talent Acquisition Director at Honeywell Connected Enterprise, a major SaaS and tech division based in Atlanta. Today, she continues to advise startups on talent mapping, scaling, retention, and growth, and she stays deeply connected to the engineering and tech entrepreneurial community. Tara, welcome to the show. We're so excited to have you here.
Hi, Caroline. Thank you so much for having me. I am very humbled and very honored to be on the show with you today. And I've been following your career journey as well. You are an amazing engineering and marketing leader and an author. And I have to put this in because we're very close to tech, a double jacket. So I have a special affinity in my heart for you. But it is a pleasure to be here today, and thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for joining me today. So let's talk about how this session is going to work for everybody in the audience, okay? So number one, feel free, shout out to us, put your name in the comments, introduce yourself, we will shout out to you. I'm gonna go through a series of questions and get Tara's take on how to hire your next tech rock star with tips and strategies you can use today. And then this is also an Ask Me Anything session. So if you're watching live, drop your questions in the chat at any time. I'll be monitoring the feed throughout the show. If your question fits with what we're talking about, I'll try to work it in right away. If it's a little off topic or something we haven't covered yet, I'll save it for the Ask Me Anything Q&A at the end. Now, here's what I have teed up for this session so far. 1, defining your pain points. As a hiring manager, as a tech hiring manager, what is your biggest pain points and how are you, Tara, going to help with that? 2, know your current challenges in meeting deliverables. And 3, how to attract the best talent. And then we've got a couple more things that we're going to go into, but let's just go ahead and dive in. All right, so let's start with the hiring manager and his or her pain points. Do you get into situations where the hiring manager hasn't defined their talent needs? Do you help them through that process? What do they need to know?
Absolutely. So this is, I have to say, the most important key in the recruitment process, because the recruiter is going to need to understand what it is that you are looking for. And so defining the requirements is a very key element to that. Oftentimes, hiring leaders are usually pulling an old job description, or they'll pull a generic one, or as of today, they'll pull an AI JD. But it's still important to tweak it to really understand what the gaps are in the team. Why are you hiring for this new role? Why do you need this new person? Number of years of experience, type of skill set, all of these things are very important. But the partnership with the recruiter at the intake is going to be key. So for me, I would say yes, we absolutely help them define and actually uncover exactly what they're looking for. But also, it's great if the hiring manager can just send a draft ahead of the kickoff or the intake. That way, the recruiter can bring some profiles with them to help them get to an ideal fit. And that usually gets the conversation started, but we need that key ingredient in order to create the recruitment strategy to go find the talent.
Well, I'm going to interrupt here because we got our first shout out coming up. Your friend, I think this person knows you. He says, "Hi, Tara. This is Muhammad Sean. Hi, Muhammad. Thank you so
Hi,
much for
Mohammed.
joining us today." Yes.
Awesome.
So if you have a question, just drop it in. But we're so glad you joined us today. Anybody else on the call, say hi in the comments, and we will shout out to you. Okay. All right. Muhammad has a question.
Okay.
I just want to know what tool you are using for candidate sourcing, like what tool you want to refer.
So,
Tara.
and it sounds like he's asking, where do you find your pipeline? So it's going to depend on the skill set. It can vary from LinkedIn, from meetups, from the network. If a person has been like me, I've been in the business for 20 years, so I have a really great network. But also Slack channels. There are like Slack 404 is an excellent Slack channel, and I found some amazing talent that I've used throughout the years, even in that channel. But additionally, of course, people do list on LinkedIn and other job boards. But I believe, in going out, really direct sourcing the talent that you're looking for. But those are some avenues. And if you're looking for early to mid career, you can also have a great partnerships with the universities. I have a great partnership with Georgia Tech, where they share their graduate profiles with me. So you can get people that have practical experience there, already have been in seasoned professionals, but you can also have a partnership if you're looking for mid-year type of career as well. So there are quite a few areas you can find talent. And you
Hi,
need
Rebecca.
to be.
Oh, sorry about that. Hi, Rebecca Green. Rebecca Green says hi to you.
Hi, Rebecca.
Okay, and then we've got LinkedIn user. And I'm sorry, some of the comments coming as anonymous. If you don't have a picture or something weird like that on this streaming platform, and they love you, Tara. I feel so lucky to work with Tara. That's what one LinkedIn user says. Thank you so much. Oh my gosh.
Me too.
All right. Okay. All right. Okay. So, but yeah, just as we go, feel free to drop in your questions. All right. So the next question I have for you is, what do you see as challenges for hiring managers to meet deliverables?
That's a great question. So right off the bat, the competitiveness of the landscape in terms of the skill set, it could be supply versus demand. I've always been in engineering and IT, IoT, data, AI. So there's always high demand for those skill sets. And some of the things that I mentioned earlier with Muhammad's question as to where to find that talent is going to be key. But competitive landscape. And then oftentimes hiring leaders are coming with the frustration of trying to meet deliverables, right? And they may have had key players on their team that may have advanced to other positions or may have gone to other cross-functional teams, and they have an actual gap in skill set. And so the challenge is not only making sure that we're defining what that gap is, but redefining how that role could work with the team. Oftentimes you need to make sure that is someone that could add synergy to the team, but also we want to make sure that even with the challenges ahead, that we are educating the hiring leader on a structured interview process. And the challenge is, if you are not following it, it can expand the search. It can also cause us to lose top candidates. So challenge would be competitive landscape. The other challenge would be not really partner with their recruiter or their talent acquisition person.
So I would say where you're going with this is it's really a partnership uh,
It is.
with that hiring manager and your talent acquisition leader here, because you've got to be on the same page, and you technically you're working toward the same goal.
That's right. That's right.
Yes. So tell me about attracting that next rock star. You're both aligned in that goal. Okay. What if you don't, you mentioned competitive several times already. So let's kind of dive in more into that. What if you don't have the budget for a competitive salary? Is it realistic to say I can't, I don't have to pay competitively? We just need a foosball table. What do you say to that?
For some startups, that's very, very important, as in addition to unlimited lunch and unlimited stacks. But what I say to that is, if you do not have the budget, but you have this gap, are you open to short term, bringing on a consultant to ramp up that work very quickly? It's the budget, that versus a permanent hire, right? If you need the skill set, can you leverage in-house? Are there other members on the team that have some expertise that can help get to, a certain point in the requirement, or in what's required in terms of the deliverable? But at some point, when you're mapping product map, we should be talent mapping to that product map as well, so that you won't have the gap in the skill set. But I would say, if you don't have the budget, maybe consider a consultant that can come in and quickly ramp whatever is needed to require to move to the next stage, and try to, obtain budget.
Okay, so no foosball table. All right.
No.
Okay, next question. All right. So one of the things I like to talk about with when I'm a hiring manager is I always ask the person I'm interviewing. I understand this is a two-way street. That it's not just about what I want as a hiring manager. And I always ask my the person I'm interviewing, what are you looking for? What's that next thing that what's important to you? And actually, I was very pleased when I had somebody respond to me. Tell me about your DEI initiatives. How are you promoting DEI? What are you doing for DEI? Is that a thing in this company? And it said it very pointed way. So Tara, let's talk about diversity and inclusion. Okay, I've seen firsthand how building a diverse team leads to better collaboration, faster problem solving, and ultimately increasing company revenue. From your perspective as a talent leader, how important is diversity and inclusion as part of the hiring strategy?
Is incredibly important. All of us, our career journeys, what led us to be who we are, what we're doing, our experiences are different. There's no set, straight road to how we got to where we were. And so when you bring on different perspectives and different thought patterns and methodologies of how able to get to something, it opens up creativity. It opens up innovativeness. Even when I was an engineering recruiter years ago, I was recruiting diversely. My goal was to bring about a synergetic team, a team that sharpens each other, like get an idea and absolutely create it from proof of concept to scale. And so because of that type of mindset, diversity just naturally comes. You're recruiting for hard skill, you're recruiting for soft skill, you're recruiting for culture fit. All of those things align with synergy. And so if you essentially recruiting at scale for that, for any type of position, you're going to get a diverse pool because you're looking for the requirements of that meets the qualification of qualifying that talent to be interviewed into the next stages. So
Thank
diversity
you.
is important.
Oh, absolutely. 100% agree. Now we do have another question from Muhammad. So Muhammad, we can see you, we can hear you. I'm going to save your question for the ask me anything section here. So stay tuned. Okay. We're going to hit you really soon. Okay. So as someone who works in both tech and marketing, I get requests like, I need X, Y, and Z by next Friday. Just make it happen. And usually X, Y, and Z are completely outside of my control. So sometimes I feel like people forget, especially in today's job market, that hiring and collaborations, it's a two-way street, right? We need to keep on talking about this, but we need to be working toward the same goal. If our goals aren't aligned, it's not a two-way street, right? It's not going to work. Okay. So we've talked about partnership, two-way streets, aligning our goals. What do hiring managers need to understand in order to have a successful outcome when working with you?
Absolutely. So when a hiring manager is coming with a requirement, and let's say they already have that requirement mapped out exactly what they want and really drill down into the skill set. Our job in terms of talent acquisition is actually to build the people strategy to that business strategy and goal. We're literally trying to make sure that we're matching that requirement to a T, so that the role, the person in that role would be very successful. The key probably to that would be, if you're talking about how to have a successful outcome, I believe in a structured process. So upfront, you're going to let the hiring manager know what the expectations are. Okay, we got the job description. Now let's move to the recruitment strategy. The recruitment strategy is going to outline how do we attract the best quality candidate, and how do we qualify and assess the best quality candidate. How do we move along in terms of the interview process? We don't want a lengthy process. We don't want 5, 6 interviews. We should have a structured interview process. If the hiring leader is also partnering well, then feedback is really important. It's extremely important that they require feedback within a 24 to 48-hour period, so that we're able to move the candidate along to the next stage, as well as interviewing. I always say that it's important to really try to set up placeholders in each stage of the process, so that we can have interview time already set on calendars as we move each candidates along. So attracting the best talent, qualifying the best talent, and then moving them to the interview processes and stages, and then moving them to offer and onboarding, which is also just as important as the first initial pre-screen call. So that would be a successful outcome, a structured interview and structured recruiting process.
Structured process. So you are really aligning. I mean, if I hear this and I'm looking for a job, if I'm a candidate, that's what I want too. I want to know what the expectations are. I want to know this. I would love to have a structured. I think that's a win for the candidate, the talent manager, and also the hiring manager too. We all go in with the same expectations. Now, I see them kind of sometimes through no fault of the hiring manager or yourself. I sometimes see this kind of go off course. And so what do you do when business priorities change and and you can't stick to your original structure?
Yeah. So yeah, there's a situation where sometimes the role needs to be rescoped. Hey, I wanted an engineer here, a data engineer, but you know what? I need a solution architect because we need to do X, Y, Z. Part of having a partnership with a hiring leader is understanding what the product roadmap and what, again, the business strategy looks like, not for that one time, but initially you want to not just for that phase, but where are we going in the future, in the next couple of quarters? How are we going to grow? One of the reasons why that's necessary, because you want to build a viable pipeline. You want to keep a culture of recruiting. So whenever the top requirements come up, you've already kind of pre-screened, pre-ramped up, and have candidates who are already interested in a company. Another reason is that while you're moving to this process and things happen, you're also branding the company. You're also representing the company. So delays in feedback, delays in follow-up, delays in interview, every time you're doing that, it affects a candidate in the process, and they're looking at you differently, right? You're already competing against other organizations who have the same needs, the same KPIs ahead with their TA team, but the difference is how you're moving, how you're moving in the process, and how quickly you're able to get them to the next stage. And if we have delays in assessments, delays in interviews, then that's what creates a long hiring cycle. And talent acquisition metrics are always concerned about time to fill, cost per hire, number of hires, and how well we were able to find quality candidate. It literally comes down to speed and the quality of hire.
Wow, that was a brilliant answer. I love that. So really, as a hiring manager, another thing they need to be considering is long-term, short-term. How am I balancing out that long-term and short-term, and not being short-sighted and saying, this is the gap I have today. I just need to hire for this gap today. I need this today, today. And really kind of thinking, okay, how's this person going to grow with the organization? And what do I need long-term? And how do I think about that as I make today's hire? So that was a brilliant answer. Yes. All right.
Because we're thinking about it too, Caroline. We're thinking about from the first call, how could this person grow in the organization? Because we're selling that back. We're saying this team does this team does that. And the growth pattern, the way that they develop is this, and this. So that's something you want to continue to not only think about as a hiring leader, but we're branding the company, we're branding the team, we're talking about the culture of the organization to the candidate to keep them excited, to keep them interested. So any drop in us setting up this nice presentation to the candidate can lead to losing top talent.
Exactly. All right. Shout out to Carla Gaston. Hi, Carla Gaston. We see you. All right. Thanks for joining the call. All right. If anybody has questions, just drop them in, and I will get to your question. I promise. Okay. All right. So, and we do have an Ask Me Anything at the end of this. I'll be doing Ask Me Anything. So y'all get ready for Ask Me Anything. Okay. Drop your questions in now. Okay. So you mentioned previously having a structured process, that everybody's on the same page, that the hiring manager and the talent person is like, hey, here's the structure. Now let's talk about how you get to that structure, okay? Because I've seen where the structure is, 5 rounds of interviewing, and it lasts, 3 months or something, and you end up interviewing the same people over and over again. And those people obviously did not have a structure. But setting up the structure to say, okay, this is the setup of okay, these are the people you have to interview with, and this is the time frame, because you are under the gun in talent as to meet your metrics, right? And then setting it up where you don't want to run them through too many interviews, because you want to move quickly to get that person. But I've seen it both ways, where it's like, okay, went through a whole bunch of interviews, this person, and then you still made a hiring mistake, or you went through too few meetings, and then you hired somebody and it was a poor fit. How do you structure it where it is a good balance, where it's like ideal? Is it like individual to that company culture? So it depends on which startup you're working with, or which, are you working with a large company, small company? How do you find that balance?
So most organizations have an idea of their target start date, right? And so
what if it's like, for startups, it's yesterday?
or last night when we thought about this, we needed them. Um,
So
so
let's put that aside for a second.
So I think a hire should be in place within 30 days, to be quite honest with you. And if you have a true partnership, you can make it happen. And that's where coming into the intake as a recruiting partner with ideal profiles, so we can talk about what the fit looks like, tweak the JD. That's the first stage in the process. Once you got the job description all written out, then you're moving to the recruitment strategy. Where are we going to go find that talent? We talked about where we can go and find it based on supply and demand, right? In the areas of where the talent can be, or if we've done what we said we were going to do in terms of aligning with the CTO and the CEO or the technical leader of the organization about what the product roadmap looks like, then we've strategized over the next couple of quarters what's to come in. So we've created a culture of recruiting and created a viable pipeline. And we've along the sideways have gotten people excited. Hey, we're gonna be hiring in the next 6 weeks. Are you still interested? Because I want to put your name in the hat, and keeping that candidate pool warm. But essentially, when we get there and we got the job description and we're moving to the recruitment strategy and we start to share profiles and we start lining people up, your weekly updates with the hiring leader should be weekly progress. And I say that by meaning each stage, each week, we should be moving to something. We should be moving to let's interview these first 3 candidates, moving to assessment, moving to second rounds, moving to third rounds. I think a interview process should go no more than 4 rounds, especially if you're talking about technical interviewing. And one of those rounds includes the pre-screen from the recruiter. So technically 3 more rounds of interviews. In addition to that, along the way, you've talked about culture fit, perks, incentives, things like that, right? But essentially, when you get to the stage where you know your top 5 are, and you're ready to finish out the third or fourth rounds, and you know who the top 2 that you want to offer, don't fall short on the offer. If you've done your if you've met the SLA and given us the feedback in 24 to 48 hours, you've done your scorecard, we follow up with the candidate, we are all in lockstep, right? Hiring managers happy, recruiters happy. And I've used this process with several organizations and been able to ring success. Believe it or not, startup usually moves very much faster than the enterprise organizations. And we've had quality hires, and we've not had hires we had to replace, because there's a different type of culture in startup. There are those that want to get into the startup organizations that are builders, innovators, creators. They want to be at the forefront of the proof of concept. And then you have others that come in during the stage of reiteration and updates. And those are the type of employees that like to come in and help build up and maintain. So knowing all of that, it's a recipe for success.
All right. I love that. Perfect. All right. So let's see. Moving forward, I was talking to another hiring manager recently. She was doing a Zoom interview and had a strong suspicion that the candidate was using ChatGPT to answer every question in real time. I'm going to call that a red flag. Okay. She wasn't sure whether to call it out, let it slide. She ended up she was so embarrassed. She just didn't know what to do. So she ended the interview and then decided, I'm not going to hire this guy. I can't trust him. I think trust is a really important part, right?
Yes.
So that's my segue into red flags versus green flags as a hiring manager. What are the best things to look out for, or what are the things I'm like, so
That's a burning flag. That flag's on fire. First of all, that flag is on fire. So, I've actually, before AI became so prevalent, I've actually sat in interviews with leaders where the candidate was moving their mouth, but someone else was doing the talking. And just as I was about to say something, see, the leader did, and he's like, Are you? Is there someone else talking? You are not talking." And so, it depends on who's in the conversation. I think, some would be, give a straight answer and say, I know we're innovating. AI is an amazing tool these days. Are you using AI in this interview, by the way? Are you using chat GBT? And you can get a response that way. But you can also trick chat GPT by saying this: "Oh, that's interesting. I really like how you answered that. However, can you give me a time where you use that tool with the team, and where a time of accomplishment where you use that tool and you were very successful? What was the outcome and the challenges along the way?" So chat GPT can't talk about a moment in time in your life. And so
It doesn't know
the
everything about you, really? No, just
right.
kidding.
If you get a really surprised or really big eyes type of answer, or no response at all, or huge pause, that's just wrap it up. Even if you got 8 questions left, finish with one and say we'll call you back. You already know you're not going to move this person to the next stage. Integrity is key. You need that in a team. You can't have a synergetic team when someone is not doing the work. That's cheating all day. So yeah, just move on. And
Move
make sure
on.
you put that candidate on a do not use list.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Okay. So let's move on to the Ask Me Anything section, because Muhammad here has been very, very patient with us. Thank you so much. Okay.
Okay.
And his question is, um, if you are in a situation where a client is offering a salary of 80K annually for a role, but the average market salary in that area is around 120K, and candidates are also expecting offers aligned with the market rate, how should we handle this? What would be the best approach to manage both client expectations and candidate satisfaction?
Oh wow. So first of all, you guys shouldn't have gotten this far in the process and not know this, right? That's a huge misalignment. The recruiter knew going in what the market range, salary range was. Should have been also in enlightening the hiring leader at the kickoff. Hey, these are the market competitive rates for this type of role. Um, and we're not going to get the talent you're seeking if we are looking at it at this rate. So can we reach out to HR if there's an HR department, and essentially find out how we can increase the market rate, or level down on the skill set at 120K, maybe a couple of years, 2 to 3 years, off the experience of the candidate at 120. Maybe bringing in a junior candidate. If that's all you can do, then that would be the rate. But you shouldn't have gotten, even with submitting profiles or even at the offer stage, without having these conversations. And a recruiter should be checking along the way, all along the way, to make sure things hadn't changed. The candidate is not only interviewing with you. So things change throughout the process. That's why the recruiting process and interviewing process can't be long, because things are changing, and you essentially go too long, you're starting all over again. If you're at this juncture now, I don't see how you can bridge the gap. I mean, even with a sign-on bonus, you can't bridge the gap. The employer would need to at least increase the salary rate, or I mean, the candidates, it's not going to take it. It's going to be a decline, unfortunately. But this could have been this roadblock that you now have, or this barrier to bring someone on, could have been addressed weeks before you got there, like in the first week of searching. They shouldn't have gone through the entire process with that expectation.
Wow. Wow. So I think that's a great segue into understanding why it's important to work with a talent leader such as yourself, an experienced talent leader named Tara. So because
So
I think it's so bringing in somebody who's experienced talent leader who can just tell you up front. Hey, your expectations, let's set some goals. Let's be in alignment. Let's set some expectations. And if this was brought to you, Tara, at the beginning, you would have been honest with this hiring
Mm-hmm.
manager up front. And
Mm-hmm.
because you're going to go down this whole path and it's going to be a negative experience for this hiring manager, it's going to be a negative experience for those candidates.
And the
It's
company.
not a, and the company is going to lose their brand.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to decrease their brand. So
Mm-hmm.
you're better off being honest up front and hiring that. I mean, let's say, I don't know what I'm doing. Let's say I'm a hiring manager. I don't know, and I just have it in my head, 80K. All right, that's how much
Mm-hmm.
money I have to spend. And I and
Mm-hmm.
but I and then I engage you, and you're like, Caroline, I want to stop you from making a big mistake. You're gonna waste your time, your resources,
I
right?
said earlier with that job description, when you start to talk about that job description and you started out a minimum 5 years, what are you really looking for? Are you looking for a mid-year or are you looking for a senior? We can't, yes, we can say a minimum of 5 years, but what do you really need in this position? Well, I really need an 8 year. I kind of wanted to go to an architect type of role. Well, then let's look at putting needing at least 8 years of experience. That way, when we're level setting with HR, or if you're controlling HR in a small organization, you level set to what market salary range. Nobody's going to come and play foosball and have unlimited lunch and snacks with a $40,000 a year gap. It's just not prudent, right? So you need that was level set in your job description. That's why it's so important that it don't be a generic job description, but you tweak it to the actual pain and gap. Remember, people strategy to the business strategy, and so all of that is taken into account when you're going through the process.
Yes, absolutely. And that's why you need an experienced talent leader like Tara. So if somebody is in the need of an experienced talent leader like Tara, how can they reach out to you? Can you drop your LinkedIn profile and your website into the chat field? And
Absolutely.
we'll make that available in the replay. So yes, this is being recorded. This is all going to be on replay. This is the Ask Me Anything section. So this is your last chance, guys, to ask any questions that you may have for Tara about TA. And otherwise, we're gonna start closing this out here. So because y'all have been such a good audience, thank you so much, everybody, for joining us here
Thank
today. Yes. So we'll make sure that you can get in touch with Tara. But I think that what I've learned out of this, my big takeaway is a structured approach. Okay. And engineers love that. Tech people love that, right? We want to set
Yes,
expectations.
they
We
do.
want to Yes, we want to work with an experienced leader. Let's say I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, that's okay. I can hire Tara to lead me through that process, right? So, and
Mhm.
really, and yeah, getting somebody you can trust, red flags versus green flags, and looking out for those during the process. Okay, I'm going to turn it over to you for closing thoughts, Tara. If there's one thing you want somebody to take away from how they're going to be able to hire their next tech rock star, what would it be?
Okay. So, and I apologize for not dropping it into the comments, guys. It's now I have to go through several portals. So if you're able to drop it in there for me, Caroline, that'll be great. Hiring
I'm going to
rockstar
start doing
stars.
that while you start summarizing what you want people to take away out of this.
Okay. So hiring rock stars for your team, and really it's going to be partnership. You have to partnership with your TA leaders and your recruiting team. It is uber important. This partnership must be true. This partnership must be in lockstep. From the pre-screen to the onboarding, success is earned together, and you can't do it without each other. And so you have your back against the wall trying to meet deliverables. You have your back against the wall in terms of the time it takes to find the talent. Partner with your leader. Um, Strategize a plan of a culture of ongoing recruiting where you always are looking for that talent and not caught under the gun. That's one. And two, trust your recruiter. Yes, yes, I said it. Trust your recruiter. Trust your talent acquisition and HR team. Their job is to help service and grow and expand the organization. So you want to make sure that you're all successful together, and more important than anything, that you understand that once the talent comes inside, how to retain and continue to grow and develop them.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody on the call. Thanks for joining us for this live episode of Ask a Talent Leader, How to Hire Your Next Tech Rockstar, with special guest Tara Kimbrough, CEO and founder of High IQ Technology Staffing and Consulting. If you would like to reach out to Tara to help you with your talent acquisition needs, I will leave her contact info, her LinkedIn, her website in the description. Message her and learn more about how to be. You want to be successful and you want to do it faster too. And this is the key right here. Thank you so much. And we are going to say goodbye now. Okay, Tara.
Thank you for having me. Have a great one.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.